All right, welcome everyone. Sorry for the little delay before everything started. I had a small technical problem, but fortunately, I spent all week making a backup overlay for this, and apparently, I needed it. So, welcome to everyone. For those returning, welcome back. For those joining us for the first time, well, welcome
everybody.
among us. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And for those who might be wondering what this is, because of some reason, apparently, I just checked the statistic for this, and some people are actually just beginning to start to look at it for no reason at all. So, if you're wondering, well, you're going to be watching some Dungeons and Dragons played by a group of people. So, if it's not your thing, well, you should probably change channel. For everyone else, this is Dungeons and Dragons. Alright, so, last episode, the party was preparing to the party was preparing to leave Grazhill for the gathering. Fortunately and unfortunately for others, one of the party members decided to indulge themselves in one last act of kindness and generosity for the poor. Unfortunately, because of greed and jealousy, this playful act of kindness turned into chaos and hatred, and the party was forced to leave Grazhill. For some of them, in a lot of confusion, and for others, well, one specifically, a lot of amusement. Believing their worst was behind them, they made haste to the gathering. Unfortunately, believing the worst was behind them, they didn't pay much attention to what was around them, and they fell into a trap. The fight started pretty well. Unfortunately, they quickly discovered that their attacker had a backup plan, which ended in a very one-sided honor duel.
I don't know what you're talking about. Fisher did amazing.
You were bleeding incredibly well. Just as they were about to be executed, because of course, at the end of an honor duel, someone has to lose honor, and usually their head. And the condition was that the winner could take the other party. So, everyone was about to get executed when time suddenly stopped. And a very bored and slightly cruel entity revealed itself as being the mastermind behind this hopeless duel, only wishing to amuse himself or itself. Hard to say if it was he, she, it, or something else. With wits and a bit of luck. However, the party managed to turn the encounter in their favor, and struck a deal with the bored and, well, actually quite cruel entity. So, now the party is left alone on a plane, collecting their thoughts and feeling about this, barely a mile away from this place where this gathering is supposed to take place. This gathering which they have all been working toward for some a bit over a month, some a bit under. An endeavor in which some of the party member bled profusely ever since this started. Other has mostly seen the diplomatic aspect of it and, well, did their best to make sure that other didn't live this through in a too much of a traumatic way. And so, after having braved the sea, goblins, wolves, kobold, odd creatures, strange phenomenon, they are finally in a place where they can see this strange meeting place, which, from where they are, only looks like a very small grove of trees. And so, this is where we start today. Veltari, audience, Fisher, and Eldon. What do you want to do?
Well,
that was
that
fun.
was interesting. Yeah. I made a deal with a mysterious entity. This shouldn't end poorly.
That would seem like a smart idea with no lasting consequences.
Well, lucky for me, if he's just looking for entertainment, I'm just chock full of it.
At least we can say that we are all alive still.
Indeed. And I'll start like messing with the 2 adventurers coins that I have. I seem to have 2 extra coins now. It's gonna be interesting, especially if this is a trial to see who can have the most.
I don't think that is the goal of our journey.
I don't think so either. It's just playful coincidence, maybe. But we shall see. We might even be able to help somebody with one of these.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
I'll pat Fisher on the back and said, "You tried your best in your duel. It was a good fight." Kind of pat him on the back.
Oh, thanks. You probably could have done a little better, but I have a feeling he was very much out of both of our leagues.
He seemed to be an excellent fighter. And I like the way you did not retreat, even when I called for you to. It showed good honor, good spirit. So, how's the afterlife?
Well, it appears that either I wasn't dead long enough to go there, or I may not have a soul, because it was black. I don't remember anything. It was just like someone snuffed out a torch in a very dark cave, and then lit it again, and then snuffed it out, and then lit it again.
Perhaps
I might
Not
have
enjoyable.
Perhaps if you accepted the dragons into your heart, there would be a better afterlife for you waiting.
Speaking of that, audience, I want to talk to you. There may be some lowly adventurers trying to find religion there. Are you going to preach? And I gesture to a little soapbox I have tape tied to my to my backpack.
Probably not immediately. This is a different crowd than I'm used to. Many people with their own already established beliefs and something they followed. I mean, these are not regular. We were going to where I assume there's going to be a lot of adventurers and perhaps many who are quite a bit more seasoned than we are. So I think it is more important to get there instead of making a spectacle, just to kind of gain a lay of the land and kind of see why we are there and what's happening.
Okay.
Maybe we should get going while talking.
Oh, I assume that we were walking and talking.
Well, nobody said that we were walking.
Sorry.
What are we? Are we what? Like, we're not even an hour from the Grove, right?
Less
Yeah.
than a mile. Yeah, probably something like 30 to 40 minutes of walk from there. Since you're in a slight slope, you can actually see where you're going. Like I said, it's sort of an odd flat surface with a strange grove of tree in the middle, which seem to have a shape, but from where you are, it's a bit hard to tell which shape it is.
What I'm curious about is a pair of adventurers got through this escapade once. You would think being so close within 30 minutes, they'd be like, hey, let's watch out for other people, for other adventurers that are trying to come through so they don't get ganked.
Or maybe they just thought, since they dealt with the group so easily, that they weren't a threat to anyone. Or wouldn't be keen to try again after getting so roundly defeated.
True. But, again, humans are creatures of habits. Well, I'm interested to see what's going to happen here.
Only
Anyway.
one way to do that.
Let's continue.
Have we come to the consensus that we want to pick up a few others as well?
I think
What are we looking for in our group to expand our horizons?
Well, I was personally going to look for some adventurers willing to help me take out the cult of the wolf god and perhaps rescue my friend Hunter.
Hunter.
Hunter god, and perhaps, rescue my friend who was taken. That's one of my goals while going there, but I don't know what yours might be.
Okay. Well, to be honest, I don't really have goals per se. I'm more of a day-to-day kind of liver. And see what happens. Help where I can. Go where I must.
I've noticed some of your antics don't portray much foresight.
True. Well, that's a lack of insight in some parts. Into the beings of men. And the greed of people.
Mm-hmm.
But I always try to do nice in one form or another.
That's intentions can't always make up for consequences, unfortunately.
Indeed. I take them on myself.
All right. So you keep on going for roughly 35 minutes. As you get closer, all the while talking, and underlining the chaotic nature of one of your party member and the desire of another one to possibly preach once he has been assured that he will not be ostracized for this. The closer you get, the more you start seeing what this small grove of tree looks like. It looks like 4 trees that have been placed close enough to one another, but the branches haven't grown wild, like every other tree you could think of that hasn't been groomed. This tree seems to have grown in a way that forms an arch, a natural arch. And slowly, as you draw closer to this, well, actually, make a perception roll. See who noticed what first.
17.
All right, we got 2 17s.
19.
19.
22.
22. Well, you're gonna be the first one to notice anything.
Okay.
So, you
Pretty good first rolls of the night.
You look disappointed to be the one that has the highest perception roll.
9.
Oh.
9.
9. Well, that's not unusual.
I don't even have a proficiency in perception, so that is why I'm kind of surprised.
You had 22.
I had a 18 plus 4.
Oh. Yeah. Well, imagine if you had proficiency in perception.
Proficiency.
So you're the first one to see this. Well, you're the first one to realize that these trees seems to be forming a little box in the way that they are placed. So they are placed at each corner of a square, and the branches seems to have naturally formed into arches, but on each of them connected to one another. So no matter where you're looking from, if you're not trying to go through one of the three, you're looking at sort of a naturally formed arch. It doesn't look like it's been cut or anything. It just looks like these 4 trees suddenly decided to grow and form an arch. And so you notice this, probably unless you say something right away. A few minutes later, Eldon noticed the same thing, followed by Fisher, and probably 15 minutes later, audience realized this, unless someone says something.
Do I see a lot of signs of people?
Valtteri, you were about to say something?
I'll just admire it and stay silent.
All right. Well, then you're the first one to notice that there seemed to be one person there presently. A very small figure. You can't make out what it is exactly, but from the way it's moving and its height, most likely halfling or gnome.
As I see the person, I would say to the others, there's someone over there.
The person seems to be looking for something or investigating this. It's wearing a light green cloak, I believe, and it just seems to be going around the arch, not entering it, but it goes to one end, and then it stops, and you see it take a few steps back, go to another end, and start doing the same thing. It's just going around in circle like this, stopping at a few moments. So it really looks like someone who's investigating this.
Like they're looking at the trees, or looking for something on the ground.
They seem to be investigating this formation of tree. They don't seem to be digging, but it's hard to tell where exactly they're looking. They could be looking at the foot of the tree, behind, between the trees, on the floor, but they're not entering the arch, and they're just taking maybe 1 or 2 moments in almost every position. They're even going close to the tree, and it's hard to tell from where you are, but they appear to be examining it very closely. So Valtteri, you're the first one to notice this?
I said that we would say to the others, there is someone over there.
Then in that case, everyone notices it very easily, except for audience, who seems to be looking at. No, there is no one. It's. And then a few minutes after, oh yeah, and now you can see it. It was their green cloak. You know, it was blending with the background, and we're having trouble seeing the difference. And actually, audience, I'd say make a intelligence roll.
Oh, my favorite. 11.
11. Wow, your face is so bright right now. It's gotten a lot brighter over the last few minutes.
The only
That's
thing
better.
I was seeing was his eyes and his lips.
Yeah.
That was everything I was able to.
I'm just blessed right now.
Yeah,
Just imagine
Holy light.
it was the blessing of the
Yeah.
dragon.
just radiating holy light right
You
now.
are becoming a beacon of hope. Or like my cousin likes to say, a bacon of hope.
I'll work on my setup for next time. So next time it's not so.
That's alright, don't worry about it.
Right.
So, well with an 11, it takes you a while, but maybe 10 minutes before you reach them, it sort of hits you. You've seen that cloak before. It ran right past you in the morning that you got up from Grazhill and decided to jog.
I'll be like, huh. I'll turn to the other. I'll be like, I've seen that person before. They were in Grazhill with us. Never met them. Just saw them running by.
Interesting.
Did you notice anything else about them?
Nope. Just someone ran by in a green cloak.
Maybe they are also were heading to the gathering.
Maybe. Well, let's head in. We can speak to them later if we want to.
Do we even see an entrance?
Right now, all you can see is these 4 trees.
Building a wall.
No, they're not building a wall. They're just
Oh.
4 trees placed in a square. Each of the trees is placed at one of the corner of the square, and the branches form an arch, as they all seems to naturally have tried to tie tie themselves around one another, making for a druid. It's sort of slightly familiar, as in you've seen your father shape trees by using druidic magic, so you could probably guess that it's either something that happened naturally, which is extremely odd, or they were reshaped using magic. But in that case, it was... Well... Wow. I lost one camera for a moment. So... If magic was used to reshape it, because of the size of the tree, you could say that it hasn't been there for very long.
Okay.
So as you get closer, maybe when you start, unless you want to try to speak to this person as soon as you believe your voice can carry that far, you can get pretty close to that person before you start hearing something.
Cautiously approach.
All right.
I keep going
I
towards
will-
the trees.
I will less cautiously approach. I'll kind of walk up fairly obviously, unless one of my party members tells me not to.
Valtteri,
I'll be right next to your side.
All right, Valtteri, what did you
Just
say
skip
you
it.
wanted to do?
I'm just going.
Just going. Right, well,
Okay. Okay. Eldon doesn't like the whole caught in the shell thing, so he's just gonna skip around Valtteri, just all happy and whatnot. You know, typical halfling stuff. Like just do.
so
Good mood.
as you're all approaching, you can hear her mumbling. It's a female voice, and it's slightly high pitched. Eldon, since you're a bit used to this, it happens fairly often that gnomes and halfling interact with one another. You can recognize it's definitely a female gnome.
Not the third crush of audience.
Well, I think she's a bit small for him. She'd be literally waist high.
Some might say, no, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah.
Well, Eldon could, but he isn't gonna.
So as you're approaching, you can hear her mumbling, and right now it's a bit hard to discern what she's saying, but you can sort of hear this. Oh, no, why? Why? Maybe I have. But I've seen. All right. This is what you can make out as you are slowly approaching.
You okay there? You gonna blow a gasket?
She barely pays attention to to the group. You can just hear her say, no, Julian, everything's fine. I just want to make sure that when I step through it, I'm not just gonna blow up or disappear and find myself into the confine of a weird dimension.
Well, look here. Let's find out. And I jump through.
All right. As you get very close to this, maybe 2 or 3 steps before the arch, you start seeing energy that gathers around this arch. All of the 4 corners of the arch suddenly have this gentle energy which seems to be forming, and as it gathers toward the center, slowly start to shimmer, to go brighter, and in one blink, the space that the arch formed just gets filled with a bright, sort of greenish, very a bit like audience's background right now, a bit greenish like this, very light in color.
Okay. But before I jump through, I'm gonna pull out one of the coins and be like, well, I hope this thing works.
Don't worry. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't gonna disappear when I entered.
Well, why not just try it? And I do it.
You see Eldon jump in, and just as he jumps in, you see this gnome look at the door. Well, they did say that I have to have them on me. So she goes into a pouch and takes out a coin, and she steps in. Valtteri, audience, Fisher.
For the rest of my party, should we follow? Shall we?
Did they just kind of like disappear as they walk through it?
Yep, Stargate style. They just entered it and poof.
Yeah. I'll just real quick make sure that my coin is still on me before stepping through.
Yeah, you can find the coin exactly where you placed it last time. So you enter?
Yep.
Alright. Valtteri and audience?
I'll give Valtteri a nod. See you on the other side. I will step through as well.
Valtteri, you see audience enter. You are the only one left.
Oh boy. Before I go through,
Yes?
can I try throwing the orb thing I got into it?
You can.
Like, you know what I mean, right? The thing I got from the one wizard. Yeah, I'll throw it there.
All right. You take the orb, and what do you believe? Honestly, what is
Yes.
Valtteri thinking as she wants to do this?
That is probably the entrance the wizard was looking for.
All right. Anything else behind in her mind right now?
What is with Arena?
You can actually you can. All right. Well, now as you take the orb and are just about to check it inside this flash of light, you can feel a strong sense of disapproval from Morina, just by the fact that you took the orb in your hand. You felt it just as you took it.
Okay, I put it back. But what I'm thinking of right now, if I can even take her with me, right? God damn it, you took the second coin. I don't want to leave her alone, but I don't know if I can even take her with me.
You are going to have to try. You can either enter without her and possibly leave her here, or you can make sure that she is on you as you enter. But either way, you're going to have to choose which one you want to do.
I'll try taking her with me.
Alright, so you turn around and you gesture for her to come, and you don't see her come, but you feel this slight additional weight on your shoulder, and you feel sort of the claws of this creature landing on your shoulder. You also feel a little sense of curious anticipation.
I'll go through it.
Then you go through it. Alright, so Eldon, as you're the first one who entered this, the blinding flash of light only lasts for a moment. But it's still enough to flash your eyes. So as you get out of this, you find yourself on a hard surface. You're standing, but right now the flash of light is still a bit blinding you, but it's slowly disappearing, so you're fairly sure that the light is normal in here, but you're no longer outside. This is a hard floor. So it's a structure, and you don't feel anything on the ground. There's no little cracks or anything. It's a smooth surface. And as you... yes?
I don't think I'd be familiar with it, but would I have seen some sort of magic like this with the kind of work I've done? Or similar types of magic?
Let's see. Well, make a intelligence roll. See if you remember anything.
So that is 14. So plus 2. 13.
13. Alright. Get my notepad out. Alright, so... You've seen... No, actually, you've never seen, but you've heard about this type of magic. As you've spent a lot of time in great cities, you've heard rumors of the great city of the Dragonborn, and this city is fabled for its only existing permanent transportation portal. As in, some people can just walk in one portal and find themselves on the other half of the world. So this feels familiar in that sense. The description of it sort of pops up in your mind when you look at this and how you just entered it and found your way somewhere else. However, you do remember that in these books, they did say that you could see the other side of the portal in the great city of the Dragonborn. This one was just a white flash of magic. So, yeah, it makes you think of that.
I've got my notebook. I got to take my notes.
Sure. So you step in and your eyes slowly start to adjust, and what you thought was the blinding flash of light still affecting you, you realize that some of it is actually glare from the surrounding around you. As your eyes adjust, you realize that you're standing in a corridor, most likely man-made, or at least humanoid-made. It's quite large, maybe something between 10 and 15 feet wide. It follows the same type of arch as the tree you just entered. The arch between the trees that you just entered. And the walls seems to be made out of gold, silver, and brass. Maybe even copper. Or at least it has the same color. And you look around you and you realize you don't see any plaques of it. It just seems to be a smooth surface all throughout this corridor. The walls, yes,
and smooth transitions, like
yes,
like evanescent, like paint that changes color. It just slowly shifts.
Is exactly as you come out of this, you find yourself in this corridor, and even if you look back behind you, you see that the corridor seems to be going back maybe another 10 feet before just ending.
Okay. Did I cut? Because that gnome was right behind me. Did they come? Did she come in with me? Is she with me?
As soon as I finish describing what you see, you're gonna know.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry.
So this corridor the ground seems to be made of something that feels a bit like marble, but shines the same as silver. The walls seems to be made out of gold, but you can just make out a place where there seems to be the contrast of a door, and this contrast seems to be made out of a brass and coppery color, but it's closed right now, and maybe 30 feet away from you, you can actually see two shapes. Humanoid, looks like, and they look like exactly those who handed you the coin. Just waiting there. Make a perception roll.
I'll use my lucky to re-roll that. Thank you.
Right.
15.
15. So everything looks to be very smooth like this. You notice that they seem to be waiting there. One of them seems to have what looks like a book, but it's extremely flat. You would call it an iPad, but I don't know what Eldon would call it.
A piece of wood.
Well, it looks made out of metal. So it's a metal slab the size of a book.
Tablet. It's still called a tablet.
Oh! So they actually have an iPad.
Well, for you, yes. For Eldon, I don't know
Oh,
what
God.
he would call it.
Like a plate?
It looks like,
square
Yeah,
plate?
just
a
I
metal
don't know what to
plate.
call it. Eldon
Like
is curious.
a lunch tray.
Without even looking, like
One of them seems to have this resting on his arm, and is that both of them are waiting. The only source of light inside seems to be globes of light, just like that. You'd say mostly made out of glass, but the inside glows a very soft white light. It looks a bit like a light spell. They're floating. For audience, it would be just above his head. For you, it's above reach.
Oh yeah. Not even paying attention, just so fixed with the amount of new information that Eldon is going to receive. He just like his mind is blown. Like he's walking forward, and he's going towards the two figures.
All right. So you make a few steps, and just as you make these few steps, you hear behind you this, and there is the gnome just behind you. She's walking. You can just hear from the back of your mind. Oh wow. Well, it's not natural.
Agreed. I'm Eldon, by the way. Like not even looking at her, just putting out a hand out back just to shake.
Well, it feels like she's doing the same thing as you, because you have this awkward moment where both your hands seems to be touching and you're trying to grab them, but it's all right, you're all right, here, yeah. She says,
I'm just walking.
she says, most people either call me Nia or Luca. Yeah. Pleasure to meet you. Fisher, you're the third one who entered. So you enter this, and for you, this does feel slightly familiar, as you have actually been into this great city of the Dragonborn, and you have used their portal system. So it feels very similar. And actually, the fact that it's a bright light rather than seeing where you are going, as you exit this, and your eyes slowly adjust, and you see this small gnome advancing and Eldon slowly marching ahead, you sort of realize that you should have been able to see behind this portal because it's so familiar. So you would guess that you're no longer in your world. That would
It's
be
like a different plane.
almost.
I had the same thought too.
There definitely was a cut that you left. Everything in the world that you know is behind. And that is probably why there was this white wall within this flash of this is within this portal. As if the two worlds weren't exactly compatible, so the image could not be seen
Come
from
through.
your side. So, just like Eldon and Nia, who just came before, you see this hallway made of gold, silver, brass, at least what looks like it. You see these small orbs of light. You can recognize this a bit more easier because you're actually familiar with magic, and you'd say that these orb of light are probably glass or something like glass, with something inside having been cast a light spell, because it feels like the glass might be there to intensify the light. So it's a bit like taking a glass jar and a glass bead casting the light on the glass bead and putting the bead inside the jar. Feels a bit like that when you watch this. And you see Eldon, Nia, and those two figures, which looks exactly like those that handed you that coin. One of them seems to have a metal slab on his resting on his arm and is patiently waiting for you.
I'll catch up to Eldon if I can before he gets to the...
Well, Eldon, are you walking very fast, or you're just walking a bit like Days in the Dream?
Have you ever had one of those moments where you're walking and you just get so caught up in your thoughts you have no idea what's going on?
Yeah, sure.
And then you're just somewhere else, and then you're
yeah,
like, what?
Or
you
like
walk
your brain
into
is
a wall
going,
and either way.
Yeah. Yeah, like Eldon's brain is so focused on so many different things right now. The possibilities, the outcomes, what's happening, where are we? Everything's going through his mind, and it's just he's just walking forward in a daze. So
Right.
not slow, but not fast.
So probably if you start walking at a brisk pace, you'd be able to catch up with him. He seems to be completely absent-mindedly walking in a straight line. Well, mostly straight line.
And honestly, like I'm thinking, like, there is no turning back now.
This is definitely something different. A few moments later, Fisher, you're close enough to hear this. You hear this, and audience is behind you. In audience, you see exactly the same thing that I just described. Corridor. For you, it's a bit odd, in the sense that you've never been in a place made out of what looks like metal and, well, stone, yes, because of the floor, but never metal. But it does have a little bit of a draconic feel, you know, gold, silver, brass, copper. It does have this familiar theme for you.
Alright, I will look ahead and see my companions heading towards the two and recognizing them as the whatever the creatures or
Exactly.
individuals that handed us our coin. I will follow after Fisher.
All right. So you keep on going ahead, and Valtteri, you did take a few moments before you entered, thinking about it. So you're going to be the very last one to enter this. So by the time that you would arrive, Eldon, you'd probably be arriving right next to these two hooded figures.
I'll hold up the coin, like just inspecting everything that he has. The thing in his hand, trying to figure it out.
Well, the first one is standing up in a impeccable posture, and he slowly bows down, looking toward you, and said, "Welcome." And this one is. You hear the second one saying, hold on. And he looks on the slab and said, Eldon. And the other one behind him is, sir? And he looks at this tablet and says, oh, yes, only the first two one will probably be alright. Yes, Nia Luca. Again, the first one says, welcome. I would imagine you have been walking for quite a while. You are, unfortunately, in the entrance, so if you have any question, I would say it would be a... Sorry. When words try not to come out in the right order, it does the same effect. So, So as you're standing in the entrance, I would say if you have any questions, everything will be answered very soon. If you have extremely pressing question, I can easily answer them. And the one who just talked to you presents himself. He's, I am anything. I am the keeper of the garden.
Of the guard or the card?
The garden.
Guard.
Okay. So you while looking at your shiny rock thing you write on or look at, I don't know. You said that there may be a problem here. Problem with what exactly with the others?
A problem? No, there's no problem.
Oh. Well.
Elithane isn't the one holding this metal slab. It's the one just beside him.
What did he say whenever he was taking down the names on who was here?
Oh no, he was just wondering which name he should say, because gnome often have very long name. If you don't mind, miss. No, actually, it's fine. She's, this one is called Nialuka, Lightfoot, Shadow Step, Cuddle Hog.
Okay, I get it. Well then, assuming. Okay. Well. Do you take the coins now, or do we just go in?
You can keep the coin if you like. This is the entrance. Well, it's actually the guarded entrance. As soon as the gathering will have taken place, you will be given access to the normal entrance. You won't need the coin anymore. But you can keep it.
A very important question.
Yes.
Where are we?
Well, this will be answered very soon. But for now, I'd say nowhere you've ever been.
That's obvious.
Oh.
Now, please, you are among the very last one to arrive. There most likely won't be anyone coming, or if anyone comes, they're going to be very late arrival. But just to make sure that everything goes smoothly, this is not the right place to ask question. You never know when a large group might be coming. I believe and he looks at the other one that is just a little smaller than him. How many did you say were still to come? Well, sir, there's still 12 missing. Well, so, as you see, there are still a few missing.
Okay.
At this moment, Fisher, you arrive next to Eldon, so you were hearing a bit of the conversation, but it was a bit fragmented, but you'd be arriving right about now.
Am I able to see on like knowing what it is on the screen of the iPad, or is it like one of those scary things where you can't see from the side?
No, actually, he's a lot taller than you, so all you see is this metal slab from where you're looking at. It looks like a large plate of metal, dark colored.
Can I see over the top of it?
Well, yes, since you have a height that is very similar to them, you do see that there seems to be writing on it. It is not illuminated like an iPad, but it is easy to read as there is a contrast with the color of everything that is there. But you do notice that just as he touches it, he sees you arriving, touches it, slide his finger toward the bottom, and you see the writing starts changing. I guess this would be Fisher. You hear Elithane say, yes. We had been expecting and hoping that more of your kind would made their way here. Fortunately, you're the first one to arrive. Welcome.
Somebody's gonna be popular.
Thank you.
I'd say make a perception roll.
10.
10. Well, there is something very familiar to them, but you think that it's probably just the fact that you believe that it was most likely one of them who handed you the coin. But other than that, it's a bit hard to make out what it's this little feeling of familiarity that you have. However, you do notice that their hands are very thin, but they're all wearing gloves. You can't see their face. Their hood are up. They are all wearing clothes and gloves, but their hands looks very thin. Thinner than yours.
Okay. Out of my own curiosity for Fisher's knowledge, was the language on that tablet common?
I was gonna ask if I could recognize
No,
whether or not I could actually understand it, if I could recognize what it was, if I'd ever seen it before.
So you definitely can't understand it. However, from the writings, you'd guess that it is some sort of arcane writing. However, the language is not known to you. But it has this feel of arcane nature in the way that the letters are shaped, the glyphs are made. But the information seems to be moving very fluidly on it, and all they have to do is just touch a few different places, slide their finger, and the information just changes just as one is naming the one beside Ilithane is naming you. You do see that he slides toward the left corner of the slab for him, and all the information changed. It seems to be sort of like a blueprint of you that is on the tablet, but you can't make out what the writing says on it. You just recognize, well, that looks like the very same model as me. You know, when I take off all of the clothes and cloak and... Right. This is a good news that at least one of you actually answered this call. We will most likely be talking to you again in the future if you decide to stay among us. Audience, you'd be arriving just about now. And
Audience,
His
I really
face
think
is so bright. I'm like,
I'd say
really is.
I'd say the exact
came
same
through the
thing,
portal,
but
it's really
black is what you see from under the hood of the AC being. That's better.
It's actually got less bright. It was brighter earlier.
Yeah, well, probably because the light has faded a bit behind you.
Yeah, it's
Everything has
switched up.
become so much brighter on your face.
Earlier, I looked like one of the what was it? Like Japanese paintings with my face was completely white. And you couldn't see any details except my lips, which were bright red. Or looked bright red. Do you see
and your blue eyes.
Well, actually, we could see your eyes better than your lips. So you arrive just as this is happening, and
All right.
you recognize these two figures, very similar to those, at least the person who handed you the coin. Say, yes. I believe you are the last Dragonborn to arrive. And alright. Your name is, and it looks... Audience Autumn Draconis, isn't it?
Yes, that is my name.
Very well, very well. You're the last Dragonborn on our list. Everyone seems to have made it.
You know what they say? They save the best for last.
They do. I have heard many of them say this. And just as you say this, you hear in the end of the corridor, and you see Valtteri coming in. And I believe this would be the last for today.
Question.
Yes?
Do I feel still Arena on my shoulders?
Yes.
Like, the whole time I was like, is she still there? Is she still there? Please, she's still there. Please don't do
Gone
this
into
to
the
me.
nether.
I would go back if you do this to me.
She vaporized. It's not here anymore. No. Yes, you absolutely feel her on her shoulder. You feel her on your shoulder, not you on her shoulder. She's there, and you see this image of metallic color. For you, it's a bit unnerving. You're not used to artificial structures like this. But after a few moments, there's something that feels oddly natural about it.
Oh.
Natural, very much in the sense that there's nature in here. You just can't see it.
Well, after I breathe out of relief that I still feel my little friend on my shoulder, so I would slowly walk to the others. Kind of confused, kind of feeling comfortable, but also not.
Alright. So, audience, just as you heard this, you see Valtteri slowly making her way toward all of you, looking intrigued, unsettled, somewhere in between the two of them.
I'll shut up to her. Ah, good, you made it.
Yeah. What the... so I guess I would go up to the...
Yeah, it's gonna take you roughly 6 seconds to do this. So, Fisher and Eldon, since you are already there and we're already doing something, I'd give you the first go at if you want to say something, add something.
I'd say to the guy that's talking to us, not the one with the iPad. Well, if we're the last to arrive for today, would you mind showing us in?
Well, I have one last question.
Yes.
Because you seem to know quite a bit. I'm quite jealous of that fact. 'Cause information is key. You said that like people have been arriving in groups, and you've known the groups. You know the groups that are going to be leaving here today?
Oh no, we don't know the future. We only know how many coins were sent because we know what sent them.
And how much do you know about us?
As much.
I'm gonna look up at him and give him like a crooked smile of like, I want to know how much you know about me.
We know as much as that which has drawn you here.
Well, that's rather vague.
Quite. Let's go in and see. We're all going to die. It's exciting.
And so, Valtteri, you hear Eldon excitingly say, "Let's go in, we're all gonna die." You arrive just as he says this. With a
Can I
smile.
leave?
It was a joke. Somewhat.
Sure.
Audience, you're present. Do you have anything you want to add, say, do?
Not at the moment.
All
no,
right.
I'm just
I'm gonna look at the two by the door and say, "Have you heard the glorious and the rejuvenating word of the dragons?"
You hear the things. Yes. Well, there are dragons in many worlds, and some of them are different. I know about the dragons of my world.
We
Audience
wouldn't happen to
workshop
be
minutes.
in your world, would we?
No.
I think we are. And thank you, sir. You gave me everything I needed.
So Valtteri, as you are just arrived just in front of the two Illithanes. Well, you don't know he's called Illithane yet, but he looks at the one beside him, and she is, sir. He looks on the slab of metal and says, "Oh yes, they're two separate names. Oh, it's Valtteri and Orina, isn't it?"
Oh, Hina.
God damn it.
I'm gonna look at her.
Yes.
I believe we have someone to take care of Orina, if you would let him. And just as he says that, you see appearing from the corner of your eye a third one, seemingly appearing as if it was invisible all along. And this one is a lot bulkier than the two others. He just extends one hand. And it takes a moment. You feel this sense of uneasiness outside of you, and then followed by curiosity. And you just feel her leave your shoulder. And then you see her become visible on the arm of this new one.
Interesting.
Eldon and Fisher, you've never seen her, but it's a small dragon-like creature. Reddish color. A bit reminiscent of a red dragon, but the size of a house cat. With a stinger on her tail. Yeah, that's it.
When can I have her back?
You hear the one that just received her. Very soon. Come on. And he just raises his other hand and he just starts rubbing her just under the chin here. Come on, you have brothers and sisters here. And he starts moving off, but as he moves, he feels very heavy when he moves. You can almost feel it resonating, with the ground resonating with each step. And he slowly leaves away. You feel no bad feeling from Orina. She is intrigued, amused, enticed.
I also loudly say before he leaves, she also likes cherries. If you have any for her.
Thank you. He gets her very close to his hood, and you hear, I know which one. And he keeps on moving. Well.
So, yeah. Interesting, Valtteri. You've had a pet all along.
She's not a pet.
A companion? A partner?
My friend?
A crime-fighting duo?
No.
I'll rest my hand on Eldon's shoulder and be like, yes, it's very interesting, but I say we get back to that later.
Explode.
And
Yeah, I know.
I'll turn to Valtteri
head inside.
Before we go, and I'll be like, I did not know you had a member of the god race with you all along.
Oh, so
I Question, did I notice that they mentioned, like, for example, audience being the last one of his kind?
Well, they
To
weren't
join.
being subtle about it.
Because
Yeah.
if I was already there when they mentioned it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
then I
you
look
were
up
already
to
there.
them.
You were making your way, and they're not trying to be subtle about it. So, yeah, you would most likely have heard that he was the last of his kind to make his way here.
Then I look up to them and ask, like, are there any of my kind also there?
Hold on. Ugalet? He looks. Ugalet being the one that has this metal slab on his resting on his arm. Well, yes, there are two of them, but he looks again toward Illithane and said, but sir, what does this mean? He looks, oh, Mr. Eldon, I believe you have extra coins on you.
How? Oh, you're making my brain hurt, sir. You really are. Yes,
I would just
indeed.
like to ascertain as how you acquired them.
I took them off some bandits that tried to steal. Well, that stole them off some other people.
Oh,
Sticking fingers and all that. Why'd you call me here? Of course, you knew
yes.
that.
Well, yes. We were aware that some of you might not actually make this. It was part of the first challenge.
Well,
Most likely those two members will not be joining us. One of them was one of your kind. I am sorry. I hope you didn't know them personally.
I don't know any tieflings. I was just hoping to get more answers, but thanks.
You can keep the coins as they're no longer with their owner. They're probably no longer connected to them. At least we know what happened to those two.
Oh, actually, when he says this, I'll mention, I believe you may have two others also on that list who I can tell you will not be joining us.
Oh. And they are?
Tobiyashi. They were our traveling companions. Tobiyashi the monk. And
he turns toward
Trevor.
Ugalit, and Ugalit says, yes, he's still connected to his coin, but it does seem he won't be able to make it. The connection does seem to be weak.
And Trevor the wizard.
Trevor the wizard. He turns toward Illithane and says, sir? He looks again at the pad and says, alright, yeah, probably him here. Oh, yes, he will most likely not be part of this. Very well, thank you very much.
Since we're going through a list, just out of curiosity, just see if somebody, a half elf, Wenix, Wenix, does she happen to be here?
And why would you be inquiring about this one?
An old friend of the family. Well, part of the family.
Unfortunately, I do not see this name on the list.
Okay. Just curious. That was all.
Oh.
I'll go back to my meltdown now.
And you hear the gnome that is just behind Eldon. She removes her hood, and you can actually see that. Well, as far as gnome goes, she's fairly beautiful. She has this, sort of dirty blonde hair. She seems to have a bow with her, and she looks around also. Wow, this was very fascinating. You get a lot of information just by listening to everyone talking.
Yeah.
Alright, so your Elithane, your Ugalith, your Audience, Autumn Draconis, your Fisher, but you don't smell like fish, so there's probably a story behind this. Your Valtteri. It's rare to see someone of your kind smelling like nature. Well, they did say that we should move on because it's basically an entrance.
Luca, was it?
Yeah, Luca. Well,
I'm gonna guess you came here alone.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll just head in.
Oh, yes.
Well-
Well, I've met others that actually wanted to come here, but usually it's easier to have a better feeling of everything that goes on around you if there is not someone walking and making loud steps, and she looks slightly in the direction of Audience as she says that, but not enough to actually look at him, but just a slight. Some of them, have very loud steps. So it's.
I get it.
It's a lot easier to when you're alone, especially when you're used to walking in nature.
Agreed. Well, let's head in, shall we, folks? Because apparently we may see things that we've never seen before.
You hear Elithane said, yes, of course. Just keep on going. You will arrive in the Arboretum if you just keep on walking.
Thank you.
So, you all keep
So-
going. Yes.
So this is a long gated hallway that we're walking down.
Yes, it is a long hallway. You do see maybe 2 or 3 other doors which are closed. The odd thing is that you don't see anything to open them. They have the shape of doors that have a arched.
Somebody likes arches here.
Well, it's just because I keep trying to say the word in French, but it doesn't. But arch is the closest thing to that. So.
I get you. Yeah. Eldon's gonna turn to the group and just start freaking out. Oh my god, different worlds, so many different things, so much new information. Oh my god, and turn around and just stop. And just compose himself.
I'll just get going. I keep going.
Audience and Fisher, you're used to seeing buildings, and one of the things that you do notice about this corridor is that it is completely smooth. There's no sign of this being built. It looks like it came to be as a corridor. There's no sign that these are metal plates. It's just a smooth surface corridor made from these material. Even the doors, usually, even though they're sticking out just a little bit, you can't see any seams on the sides or on the door itself. It looks like a door. It has the shape of a door, with a just slightly rounded arch on top of it. But there's no knocker, knobs, lock or anything. It just looks like a door. It's there. You can't see any seams. You see maybe 3 or 4 in total as you walk through this corridor. So this feels very different. Audience, you're not that used to this, but Fisher, you'd even go so far as saying, whatever the structure is, if it was built in a single thing, as if it had been summoned in existence. Whomever made this, they're way beyond whatever you've seen in your world, in how they build things. You do notice that the corridor, I'd say audience and Fisher, for you it's a bit more obvious because of your both martial class. But this corridor really seems to be made like an ideal place if you want to make sure that someone entering is stuck in a fairly confined corridor with places where people could come out, most likely the doors. So it does feel like a secure place.
Like a easy spot to get ambushed in, kind of thing?
Yeah, something that you'd need a lot of resources to force your way through. Especially if it's well guarded. Right now you don't see any guards. You just keep on walking. You do see the shape of this huge black robe humanoid still walking slowly ahead of you, and you see Ilithane and Ugalit behind. They're not moving, they're still waiting. You don't see anyone else, but you also have this odd feeling that there might be people invisible, just like this one, all throughout the corridor.
Fisher's gonna do like a slow, like 360 as he's walking down the corridor to just like take all this in.
Valtteri, again, this is the odd conflict between what you're seeing. It's made out of metal, and the ground most likely some sort of rock, although it has the color of silver. Since you can't see any seams anywhere, it almost feels like this place was just grown into existence. Hence the part that is natural about it. However, none of it is made from things which would normally grow like this.
What the?
Since you can feel Orina, I'd say you're the first one who has a glimpse of what lies ahead, because she's far beyond all of your group, and so suddenly you feel this overwhelming sense from her of joy and playfulness and curiosity, and you get hit by this feeling of fresh air. The kind of air that you sort of experience if you were in the middle of the woods.
I'll go faster.
So you're all walking slowly down this corridor, and suddenly you see Valtteri starting to move faster and just overtake all of you and keep on going. And right now, all I can see from audience is the shape of his face.
Yeah.
It's so bright. He's just smiling right now. Just. Yes.
Do you need me to widen my eyes for you so you can see more the white of my eyes?
It was a bit like mannequins, you know, no feature, just white. So you all keep on going, and Valtteri, because you started to run. You're the first one to enter, followed very closely by Eldon, then Fisher, then Audience. This is what Ilithane meant by an arboretum. You enter this place, and it's trees, grass, flowers, shrubs, as far as your eyes can see. It looks like a small forest. For Audience, Eldon, and Fisher, I'd say your character, the player, would most likely compare this to having Central Park inside of a structure.
Okay.
If I turn around and look back at the door,
Oh, it's still there. It's
like
seems...
around it, does like the forest go past it and it's just a door?
No, actually, the door
Or
seems the door seems to come out of a rocky surface. So as if it's there. So you can still see it. It's still there. And the door is flat, and you can see that it just keeps on going like a wall made of mostly stone, from what you can see. So this is a room. You just can't see the roof of it. The ground is covered in grass and flowers, and you can even hear birds singing, and most likely a mosquito. You can hear your ear running water in the distance.
Can I make a insight check on this? Do I get like a Hunger Games feel from this? you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is a huge coliseum.
Well, I'd say it's a wisdom, because you're asking if your intuition picks up on something, so it's going to be wisdom.
No, that's 7. 7.
It's beautiful. That's what it is. It smells just like walking in a huge garden.
I'll head in. Just pure excitement.
I'll follow.
Audience and Fisher, you enter this just a few moments after Valtteri and Eldon, and also Nia, who just enters and just looks bewildered by this. Walks slightly a bit to the right and just keeps on watching things. It is literally the edge of a forest. The forest begins on your left. On your right, it looks like a small park. You see plains, small shrubs. You even see a little bridge that goes above a stream of running water. And you notice there are people on the other side of the bridge. Not a lot, maybe 5 or 6, but you can see what looks like a human, you can see what looks like a dwarf. There's even a dragonborn there.
Let's go have some fun, folks. Let's go make some new friends.
I'll go in. I just go into the straight right in, ignoring the people. Just
Can
right
I link arms with Valtteri and just bring her into an awkward social encounter?
I'm picturing like the 10-year-old little boy dragging his mom into like a toy store or something.
Wouldn't that be a strength check?
Well, if you're trying to resist him, yes. If you're not, you're just trying to remove your hand as he tries to grab it, because it's still halfling. You can't lock arms with her, but you can easily grab her hand. If you just try to remove your... She is 2 feet taller than you.
I try.
So
I want to go into the union.
So it would, if you want to see if Valtteri, if you manage to remove your hand just before he grabbed it, that would be dexterity. If you want to just pull your hand out after he grabs it, it's strength. If Eldam tries to force you to follow him,
Not forcing, like gentle nudging.
I don't think I would be really into the set of mind of noticing him grabbing my hand, so it's probably would be just strength.
all right.
After he grabbed me and trying to.
So
pull away.
Eldam, do you try and hold on as she tries?
Oh, no.
All right. So you don't even have to make a check. You just remove your hand and keeps walking.
I probably would
Greedy!
just. Okay.
So where are you going exactly? There's a lot of things. It looks extremely wide. You can't see the end of it. The wall goes just go from each side and you lose track of them. On your left is what seems to be a forest. And on
I would.
what's this? I don't know. I was
Was
hearing
someone's-
weird static noise.
Was someone sniffing on a mic?
I think
No.
that's audience bumping his knee up and down and rubbing his mic.
It kind of sounded like a dog getting close to one
Yeah.
of the mics.
Like a dog
Yeah.
sniffing the microphone.
So I'll be kind of staying in the middle of the river thingy and the forest, just heading a little bit in, sitting down on a nice place, getting out my notebook and just looking for animals I can draw and plants.
All right, so you see Valtteri just walk straight ahead, go toward the stream, pluck down, take a notebook, and starts drawing. You see a variety of things. You see birds, you see a few insects, grasshopper there. Oh, this is a ladybug. Interesting. This one you don't know what it is.
And also kind of trying to, if I see a similar animal to what I've drawn already, kind of trying to see something. Maybe if they have some difference or if they're the exact same animal.
They look mostly the same. Like I said, there's one or two that you look and you have no clue what this is. This looks like a very colorful bird. You've never seen this kind of creature before. But just in front of you, you look ahead and you see a squirrel looking at you. Seems to be angry about something.
I'll get out one of the berries and like trying to lure it. Like kind of like throwing it a little bit
Yeah,
so
I
it gets
know.
closer.
No, actually, you'll know later on why I'm smiling at this. So you just throw the berry, and you see this squirrel starts, well, screaming at you in the way that squirrel do. He seems to be angry at you.
Why? Can I do a nature or animal handling to see why
Sure.
he's angry?
Sure,
What
go
would
ahead.
it be, nature or
Yeah.
animal?
No, nature.
Nature? Okay.
Well, I guess you could do either. It's gonna give you different information. Animal or nature.
I'll go for nature.
Okay.
Non-natural 20.
Not natural 20. So you look at this squirrel and you see that he seems to be very mad at you. And you just look around you and... Oh. I guess that little hole just at the end of the brush. Probably his. He's mad at you because you're sitting in front of his home.
Oh. I'll get up, put some berries in front of the hole where his home is, and then go a little bit farther away and then sit down again.
He just runs toward the hole and enters it. Doesn't take the
Ignoring
berries.
the berries?
No.
Okay. That's quite interesting.
It's actually a fact of life. You've just experienced something that I've experienced in my life.
Well, the squirrels where I live aren't like that, but sure.
It was a true story. A personal true story.
I mean, we already have talked about it, how the Canadian squirrels are different to the European squirrels, so... Yeah.
Alright, so you sit down and you start drawing animals. Familiar ones, new ones. You also
Angry
see
squirrels.
angry squirrels. First experience for you, but this one was genuinely angry at you, and you have the feeling that you shouldn't turn your back on him. Oh yes, the squirrel was very vengeful with me.
Okay.
Audience, Eldon and Fisher. Eldon, I believe you've chosen to go see people. Audience and Fisher, what do you do?
Is Eldon like running off to go?
Eldon's
Talk to
not
the-
running anywhere. He's just
Okay.
like excitedly like, let's go talk to people. Let's go see what we can find out. Make new friends, you know. Maybe make some alliances before the death match starts.
Alright. Audience and Fisher?
I'll lean over to audience and be like, "This is weird, right?"
Very.
I mean, I have never been anywhere, done anything like this. To not even be in my own world is obviously very strange. But if we were brought here for a purpose, we must follow it.
If you would look...
Go
If
ahead.
you would look to Valtteri, you would just see her sitting there, her tail a little bit wagging
Did
in excitement.
Did anybody else catch when he said there are many different worlds, not different planes? So there might be some new things here. Yeah, new worlds means new gods. New gods means new types of people, new types of magic, new types of people.
For me, you seem to be thinking on far too large a scale for me. For me, it is much more just what is in front of me and why I am here.
Yeah, I've always worked in a aspect of intelligence with my line of work, so I kind of I piece things together.
I would much rather read a book about it before hopping in. I prefer to know what I'm going into.
Agreed. Which is why I try to get as much information about this meeting before I even decided to come, which there was none. The letter and the coin and the destination was all the information I got. And this was with months of preparation.
It is still mysterious. We still don't know their purpose for bringing us all here, especially to a new world.
Hence why one of my popular theories is giant deathmatch arena. I could see entertainment for some gods that way.
Yes, I'm sure that's what this is going to be. Why don't we go talk to those people over there before you look like you're about to explode?
Just there's so many possibilities here, and just
Audience will start making his way over to the other people.
I'm excited for new information.
Alright. So, audience and on. And Fisher, what do you do exactly? You just follow, or do you have a specific place you'd like to go?
Yes, I'd say I would follow, a little cautious of the kind of first impression that those two could make on a group of people. And
Although very friendly. What do you mean?
I would shout out to Valtteri that we're moving.
So from a distance, Valtteri here, we're moving on ahead. Did you do anything?
Oh, she is like not there anymore.
You feel like you just spoke to a tree.
We know Valtteri can shift forms, right?
Yeah.
Valtteri, why don't you go like fly around a bit, see what you can see? How about that? Enjoy yourself.
I can't fly.
Oh, you can't fly yet. I'm sorry. Or you could become something really fast and run around like a cheetah. A little creature up north on this one island it was crazy.
Should we tell him I can only transform into a wolf?
That's up to you.
Oh. Well then.
Because it's not the circle of the moon, it's the circle of the twin moons I'm in.
Oh. Interesting. You learn something new every day.
She's also not really noticing you. She's still probably drawing a bird right now or something.
I think she'll be fine here for right now.
Alright, so you move on, and you cross this little bridge going across a stream, and you find yourself in front of a small group of people. Like I said, human, dragonborn, there's a dwarf among them. They're all talking very jovially.
Greetings, adventurers. How cometh your day?
The Dragonborn is the one that answers you. He turns around. Looks like he's wearing clothes that are a bit weird in their composition, in the sense that it seems to be a mix between wizard comfortable and monk.
Okay.
He turns toward all of you. Oh, new arrival! Greetings, greetings! I am Darkaheen.
Darkaheen, you say?
Yes.
Greetings to you. I am audience. This is Fisher and Eldon, my companions.
Greetings.
Greetings, greetings. How are you? How long have you been here?
We just arrived.
Oh,
5
really?
minutes.
Just arrived? Oh, then you're in for a lot of surprise.
Okay.
Good surprise or bad surprise?
Well, it always depends on each, but so far it's been an incredible surprises. There's a lot to see in here, but it is say that the gathering would officially start in roughly a day and a half, I believe. So really feel free to enjoy. There's a lot to see. Just this. They call it a garden, but it's really as large as a forest. There's so much to see. They even have a stone formation at the center of it. Like, with monoliths.
Interesting.
Is any of them kind of like this sneaky information type?
No. You'd say the Dragonborn, like I say, looks like sort of a weird mix between monk and wizard fashion.
Okay.
he himself doesn't look like he's very that he relies much on his muscles, though.
Okay.
Most likely relies on dexterity and intelligence, or at least that's what it looks like. The human looks a bit like a bard. Not a very well seasoned bard. Looks like someone who most likely began his quest few months ago. He's wearing very basic of what you'd expect of someone beginning his adventures. The dwarf, the the dwarf looks like a very extremely seasoned, with an expression on his face that betrays a bit of bitterness. Most likely someone who'd punch you in the face for saying the wrong thing. And the last one I said was...
Human.
The human is the bard, the dwarf. I can't recall what the fourth one was. Dragonborn, human, dwarf. I completely forgot. Well, let's say.
It's fine.
Yeah, the fourth one moved away a few moments before you arrived.
So I'm gonna ask them, what part of the Shattered Islands are you from?
You hear the Dragonborn and the humans say, we're from Estrin. Dragonborn says, I am from the western side of it, small town near the coast on the east side. The dwarf says, roughly the same place, just a little bit higher to the north.
Have you met any of these people from New Worlds that are supposed to be here?
The dwarf says, I'm pretty sure those with the black cloak are from another world. And there seems to be a lot of them around.
I meant it integrated with us as, like, adventurers. You know, like somebody that's not from the Shattered Isles. Hence why I asked the question to see if you were or weren't. You know,
the Dragonborn is the one that answers to what you just said. From what I gathered, most people come from the Shattered Continent. I haven't at least met anyone not from the Shattered Continent. Some are from neighboring island chains, but it mostly looks like most of the people here are from the Mistle Island chain. However, if you're looking to see exotic people, I'd say go to the industrial district. They have some weird stuff there.
You know what I meant. I'm just trying to get more information in case we all die.
I'm pretty sure we won't die.
And that naivety is what's gonna get you killed.
He leans a bit toward. I imagine you also been having the dream about this object.
Yeah, and you believed it wholeheartedly, didn't you?
Well, from what I can see, I don't know if you can remember what the dream was about, but the colors of the hull inside the dream do look like a lot of the hulls in here.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, just be careful. Don't blindly follow.
You hear the dwarf say, I've been saying this to everyone so far, and not a lot of people seem to be listening.
Oh. Believe you me, I'm more than excited for all of this new everything. But keep a wary eye on everything, just in case. Like I'm trying to give them that warning that we had in our dreams. Just like, like from a step away, like, hey, just watch out for yourselves.
The dwarf just said, "Don't worry, I'm always looking out for everyone."
Yeah, so sometimes they just get themselves into trouble.
Fisher will butt in a little bit. Go. You mentioned you had the dream. Is that
Yes.
the only dream you had?
Well, I dream most nights, so which one are you interested in? My favorites one are mostly when about this very and he seems to be talking about a very fond memory of his about this raid we made on the brewery. Oh,
I'm sure it sounds great. About here specifically.
oh. No, that's pretty much just that dream with everyone inside the room. But actually, a lot of the people that I met here seems to be inside that dream. I've seen this gentleman here, and he points toward the Dragonborn, and I'm pretty sure I recognize that one. And he points toward Valtteri. Pretty sure I saw her in the in my dream at one point. I also have a few friends. One of them is a monk with silver hair. We did a few adventures together. I'm so glad she's here.
Ah, so this monk with silver hair. Did her name happen to be Amiale?
Why, yes.
There we go.
Most people just call her Amy, but yeah, that's her full name. Or at least half of it.
You hear an
I-
audible groan from Fisher.
Oh God!
I have met her before. Do you know where she is residing right now?
No.
Oh, I believe she's inside. Just go toward the residential quarter where everyone just sleeps. There's a few place for eating, drinking. Usually people all gathered at one of them when night comes. I think they've... I don't know if there's actually a sun here, but it does get dark at one point, so I'd say if there's a sun, there is a night. If not, they really managed to make it as if it was night.
All right, I'll turn to the other two. I'll be like, and I'm off. I'll see you guys later. And you'll see audience head off towards the direction that he pointed of the residential district.
And Eldon, since you have been so graciously giving pointers to audience, you do recognize the same giddiness that he felt toward the elven bard.
Calm down, Tiger. She's not here, and there's many more to come. Remember, play it cool. Don't overexert yourself. Just stay cool and distant, but yeah, open and available.
Is he
Yeah, I was
following me
gonna,
while
like-
he says this? Because I'm walking away. Or is he
Yeah,
shouting?
like,
We'll see you
He
guys
can't hear you
later.
anymore.
Yeah. Bye. They were a wealth of information.
So, audience, the conversation probably looks like this from your point of view. Remember, keep calm, don't. Alright, bye.
Oh no! I was going with audience because I
Okay.
heard something about a tavern.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
so yes, audience, you
Eldon.
hear everything Eldon said because he just keeps going with you. So, Fisher, you're left, unless you want to follow them, you're left in this group with a dwarf, a dragonborn, and a human. A human bard who seems so far to be the shyest of the three.
Oh God! Wait, no, they're in a party. We can't pilch somebody else's party member, can we? I'd like to have a bard and train them.
I will gently excuse myself. If those two interesting companions of mine are heading off, I should probably go inform the other member of our party.
All right.
And I'll head back to where Valtteri is.
So, audience and Eldon, you go toward a direction that was pointed to you.
I got a question.
Yes.
Like, I can't physically stop this man, but I've been traveling for a while. Is it possible for me to redirect him for a moment?
You can
I mean,
certainly
you could
try.
Hey, audience. Don't you think
Yes.
after getting into a fight and going through that ordeal with that random time messing with God, you think you might want to shower or take a bath before going to see this lady?
I mean, they said a residential district. I assume that's where they would have bathing facilities.
Or he would go into the
To
river that is
a
right next to you.
There's a stream right here. We could just take a bath and calm down. And I hope to God it's cold.
So,
Trying to force him into a cold shower.
You see my point. You want to smell nice for her, not all like from battle, right?
She seemed to be kind of the battling type when I met her before.
But your scars, your dents in your armor show that. Your body does not have to.
He's glowing so much.
it goes with the feeling he is having.
Yes, I am trying my hardest to slow him down. Anyway.
You did manage to go very far from the group before Eldon tried to reason with you. So you hear the Dragonborn just say, well, actually, as soon as you leave this arboretum, this is mostly the place where the new arrivals are, you're going to be greeted with one of those hooded person. They actually have rooms for you.
You see? Rooms.
I'm gonna look back at him with one of my smiles of just like, really? This is not what I want to do. Okay, fine. You know what? Let's go. Let's go, audience. Come on. Let's go to our room.
Our room?
I'm sorry, my room. Your room. I don't know.
I'm flattered, but I didn't think we'd reach that point in our relationship.
Sir, I have offered the guidance of dragons to many for you. Many for you. You alone.
Are you hitting on me? I'm confused.
No. I'm trying to help you, but you're making it hard.
I
Right.
see. Well, let's go then.
Okay. Just trust in what I say. I can help you through this. Okay?
Help me through what?
I don't know. Getting a woman.
So
Creating a harem. I don't know what you're trying to do here. First it was this bard, now it's this, what was it, a monk you said?
Well, I met
Silver-haired
her a
monk?
long. I met her a long time ago. She seemed quite into me at the time.
Oh, old love never dies.
Yes.
Distance is not an issue.
No.
Your hearts are always entwined. Say things like that.
That's not who I am.
So you hear the Dragonborn say, well, if you want to go to your room, I'd suggest you go that way, and he points in the direction. This is the closest exit to this arboretum. You still have a half an hour of walk to get there.
Oh. So we
Thank
might
you.
want to grab the others, audience.
Don't
Thank you,
backdrop.
sir. So I'll wait for the others because I don't want to be a part of this.
All right, so audience,
Well,
you go.
audience is off.
You're up.
Other side.
Fisher and Valtteri. Fisher, you reach Valtteri, and she is drawing in her notebook.
I wipe my hands of this.
Does she offer any inclination to noticing my approach? By the way, I walk up like a foot from the edge of her notebook is where I stop.
So
Oh no,
as,
she is.
so as you're drawing, you see this shadow coming in slowly over your notebook.
I probably just think it's a cloud or something and just keep drawing.
So she doesn't seem to be paying any attention to you.
I will tap her on the top of the head.
So you feel this little tap on the top of your head.
Is it raining? No, I would.
God.
I would. I would look up to you. Yes. Look, I have so many new animals now in my notebook. What do you think?
It's very cool. You are very good at drawing. That dragonborn over there told audience that there is a silver-haired monk lady here, and he got very excited before rushing off.
Oh no.
I feel like we should go help Eldon deal with that.
I
Do
failed.
we have to?
I mean, I guess you could stay here drawing things.
Do we get the feeling like this is a chill atmosphere? Like we don't have to worry about things. We can just converge later before the meeting.
So far,
Oh,
so far it feels very relaxed. You don't
Okay.
feel any tension to, at least coming from the people you've met. You've been greeted with very kind and soft voices when you entered. So there's no tension. Yeah, at least if they plan on doing bad stuff to you, they're hiding it very well.
Well, it's not going to stop my snooping tonight, but you know.
Do we? Can I have 5 more minutes?
Well, I'm approaching the other group now, and I'm gonna wave towards Fisher and just like, it's fine. Just let him run.
Okay.
Let him off the chain for a little bit. He'll get tired and come back.
Just like a puppy.
I'll give a acknowledging nod. It appears Eldon has given up. So when you're
Why
done, I believe if we head in, and I point the direction they went, that direction, another one of those interesting
Why don't you?
people will show us to our room.
Why don't you just sit down and enjoy it here a little bit?
Huh.
Relaxing for
Uh,
one time, not having to fear that something can attack us.
I have a I have a GIF in mind of the 404 error code popping up. like he does not understand.
Fisher is going to walk back over to the stream. How deep is it?
It's not very deep. Maybe at most a foot deep.
I'm sitting by the
And
stream.
maybe, I don't know, a foot deep and between 7 and 12 feet wide, depending on where you are. It's really just a small, a little stream with clear color. So you can see the rock bed at the bottom, mostly made out of small stones and pebbles. And you can just hear this sound of running water coming from where you were standing, and also further up ahead, and also from inside the forest.
Are there any fish or anything in the water?
Yes. Small fish. You see a brown one. You see one that looks a bit golden in color. You've never seen this one. And you see one that looks like a very common white fish that you see in almost every stream. mostly small lake and stream fishes.
Aren't they lovely?
Um,
And I'm looking at the river as well. Probably drawing one of the fishes.
Y'all gonna see Fisher just kind of tromp out into the middle of the stream where it's not that it's that deepest, and just kind of face plant into the water, and then
knew that was gonna happen.
stare at the fish.
It takes all sorts to be an adventurer, am I right?
I look to Eldon like, is this normal?
So you see Fisher just submerge his head in water in very abrupt way, and you're inside your head is inside the stream, and you're looking, and you have this fish just staring at you, and you can hear this muffled sound of, and you held on. You just, what did you answer?
Oh, I just put up like it's okay. It's all good. He's fine. He doesn't need to breathe. I checked that. You're okay.
This looks like the perfect picture to take the break.
Oh, apparently so. I was gonna torment their Bard a little bit, but apparently no. It's like I find I always see Eldon as the comic relief, but actually very useful.
Right.
That
Fisher
that's-
is the comic relief now.
Yeah. Just like I can't do anything now. Torturing that poor guy won't help.
Because I just imagine he doesn't even like just get on his knees and fall down. He's just on his feet and
Oh
like.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
just
Oh yeah, just went
boom,
boom, like a tree
and
falling.
then just no more moving after that.
With the fish
And
looking
just
staring him
Just
down.
Staring contest.
This is why I say it's the perfect
this fish.
perfect picture for the break. And so we're going to be back in 10 minutes. For those watching, see you in 10 minutes. Bye. Aha, welcome back everyone. Alright. So, you have all been enjoying this new environment with Fisher speaking with the fishes, or
Not
watching
speaking,
them.
just staring contest.
Yes, staring contest with fishes. It always ends well. Valtteri looking at this staring contest between a construct and a fish. Eldon taking everything in. Audience making a straight line toward the edge of this Central Park size arboretum to get your room and prepare yourself to start and build relationships, possibly. And so, Fisher, as you are watching this fish in front of you, you learn that it is a pufferfish because it just and then slowly backs off.
So the river is with salt?
You don't know. This is a new form of life. On this world, maybe there are freshwater pufferfish.
How far is Eldon away from us?
I'm with the other group right now, about to approach and just start talking.
So I'd say around 30 to 40 feet.
So he's kind of just like passing by, but on the other side of the stream.
Yeah.
I was like, hey Eldon, wanna join us? Just relaxing here a little bit?
Sure! Come, join. Conversate. Tell me your stories.
I mean, you join Us.
I was looking at the other group. I'm sorry. Come.
The bard seems to be looking at everyone, not saying a word, and eventually just says, I really should be going back to my room." And he just turns and runs off in the other direction.
Very skittish.
You hear the dwarf say, yeah, but I think it's because of him." And he points toward Valtteri, but behind you.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's behind her?
You see,
I'm looking.
You've actually never seen one before. You've only heard about them, as they're extremely rare in the Shattered Continent. But you see a turtle coming toward your way. He is wearing full plate armor. He doesn't have any weapons on him.
I don't care what we have to do. Eldon is befriending this turtle, and he's coming with us.
Real question: does that stack with his natural armor? No. I'm kidding.
Real question: how does that fit
All right,
around his natural?
All right, sorry, I used my the words poorly. It looks like he is extremely well armored, in the sense that the way that his armor is made, it's mostly only covering the front of him, not the back, because he would have to have a huge armor for this. But the front part of him looks like it's covered in metal, sort of like a oh goodness, how is it called in English? What the blacksmiths have, sort of
Apron?
a leather apron. But his is mostly made out of metal. He does have very elaborate and sturdy-looking metal gloves on each of his hands, and he is slowly walking toward Valtteri. Doesn't seem to be walking intentionally toward you. He's walking in your direction, but seems to be walking straight at you. Slowly.
Whoa. Why doesn't that bard like this turtle? I find him quite entertaining. I like him.
I think he just finds him very imposing.
Is he part of your group?
No, oh no, we're not a group. He arrived here among the first, I believe, nearly 2 weeks before.
Okay.
He is a bit slow.
The turtle?
Physically, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a bit slow physically, not mentally. From what I gathered, he is a champion of a god. I think it's nature gods.
And why would he wear metal?
Better armor. Interesting. I think I'd like to talk to him. What is his name? As I start moving away.
I usually just introduce himself as Corinth.
Corin?
Corinth.
Is that a TH at the end?
Yeah.
Corinth.
Corinth. So,
Okay. Corinth! My fine gentleman! How are you today?
he looks up, or rather up and then down. And, oh, thank you very much. I'm good. I don't remember seeing you before.
You never met me a day before.
That is good. I was a bit fearful that I might be forgetting things. Welcome. And he slowly wobbles toward you.
I go meet up with Valtteri and, well, Fisher with his staring contest.
I'm
he
not
was walking-
Altari.
Valtteri, I'm sorry. Valtteri, sorry. Words are hard.
They always are.
But I'll meet him at her since he's heading that way.
I just keep watching Fisher.
So, you answered the call as well for adventure. And you're a champion of a god of nature. I am very curious about you.
Well, what do you want to know?
What are you seeking out of adventure? Glory, fame, money, power? Women? Men? Trees?
I don't know about trees. I've never seen a tree take a mate before, but it probably happens from time to time, especially those living. No. I travel the world, showing to all those who care the banner of my god. From his attire, you can sort of gather that, alright, there's something a bit Audion-like to him. So most likely some sort of paladin.
Okay.
From nature, well, you've heard about paladins that became the champions of ancient gods, usually from old religions, but
Walter is just mumbling. Then, when you're a champion of guard, if a guard of nature, why are you wearing metal? But she's not really caring if you can hear it. She's just mumbling to herself.
Okay.
doesn't react. Either he didn't hear you, or is not paying attention to it.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I hope we meet you in further adventures and you can come join us sometime.
Oh, well, maybe we will. We never know. As far as I can tell, everyone here has answered the same call. And very soon we are going to be shown why we have been called.
And the reason why we've been called, obviously it's for adventure and these dreams that we've had. By the way, have you only had the one dream of this place?
I don't know about the one, but I only have one dream that I can recall that is about this place in particular.
Okay. Perfect. And since you've been here like long before anybody.
Well, actually, there's only a few people who got here before me.
Oh, have you gotten any useful information about where we are, what's going on? Maybe some random people that aren't from the Shattered Continent like we are?
As far as adventurers go, it does look like everyone entering through these doors, and he points toward where you all came from, does come from the Shattered Continent. Most of them seems to be from the Mistle Island chain, but a few looks to be from neighboring island chains.
Yeah. Travel's expensive unless you know who to talk to.
Yeah, or you can swim long.
Is that how you got here?
Yes.
Well then. You're one heck of a turtle.
I just let myself drift on the ocean. Trusted in the god. And I found myself in the Mistle Island chain.
That's good for you, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hope we see you again.
You most likely will. If you want to meet people not from this world, you should try and find the natural resident of this place. Most
They're-
of them seems to be machines, but a few of them actually looks like they're flesh and blood people.
But they're not very open. I've gotten them to slip on a few things, but they're very careful with the wording.
It depends on who you talk to. If you talk to those wearing black robes, they look to be part of this place. Very
Okay, so-
intimately tied to them. But there are a few which look very different. I've met one interesting fellow in the industrial district. I believe he runs a small arcane shop, something between arcane and alchemy. He seems to be another artificial one, but not of the same design as them. He is very open, as long as you don't try to get information from his world. Apparently, everyone here is under an oath to not reveal too much about their own world. I believe they said it was for fear of contaminating this world.
So a challenge. I like this. Does that oath is that oath applied to us as well? Because I don't remember oathing anything.
I don't recall anyone swearing an oath.
Okay, cool.
From what I can tell, when they came here, they have had to accept restrictions. This is why they swore an oath.
You are one beautiful tortoise man right now.
Why,
So
thank you. I would say the same thing about you, but I have never judged the beauty of a halfling before. So I will say you are beautiful as well.
We look like feet. Don't lie.
Look like what?
We look like feet. We are named after feet. We are not meant to be beautiful people. I'm the rare exception.
Feet can be beautiful?
Depends on the angle.
Look at mine! And he shows you his feet, which is a large turtle feet with claws at the end. Sort of looks like a bit like the claws of a snapping turtle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am right now just feverishly writing notes.
That's alright.
Things I don't want to forget. Okay. Well, Mr. Nature Fighting Metal Man, enjoy your adventures. Stay safe. Do not die. Get the right group.
I always try to stay alive.
Indeed. Hey, would you mind do me a favor? If you've been here for a while, and you might know people a lot more. If you happen to know of like a bar type and like a clerical type of person that are looking for groups, could you happen to send them my way?
Oh, looking for groups, this is a bit harder. But there are quite a few clerics in here and a few bards, but I haven't heard about anyone looking for a group.
Okay.
But that might change in a few days, since everyone
I
is
can
finally
almost
going to
guarantee
know.
you it will. So get notice now for them to join later. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
And just watches them slowly walk
Waddles
away.
away. Fisher, how much of this did you hear when did you take your head out of the water?
I just assumed I've been hearing all of this as you hear anything when your head's underwater.
Alright, so you heard part of it, but a lot of it felt like all just
Huh.
Like the adults by the peanuts. Wah, 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 wah,
well,
wah, wah, wah.
actually, in there it's more wah, 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 wah. So it's not actually what you hear on the water.
I was
Yeah.
Fisher's just taking Galteri's advice and chilling until somebody moves him.
Even negative answers to your questions can give you so much information. So,
I look to
that-
Eldon and I'm like, should we poke him or something?
he's
Fisher
fine.
hasn't moved at all since he fell.
Like she's slowly getting worried. Like, is he still alive?
He doesn't need to breathe. He's fine. But I think we better be going and catching up with the audience doing it. God knows what right now.
So
I suggested to take him to take a shower, but it's going to take him about 30 minutes to get there. So we've got some time.
So, Fisher, so far you've seen a fish, a pufferfish, you've seen an eel, and you have you saw this strange creature that just came in, flying, entered the streams, look around, and you notice that it had gills, and just left the stream and just went on his way. And you saw a rock moving against the stream. That is what you witness in this chilly water.
I'll poke Fisher and be like,
Oh,
let's go. Come on. Let's go catch up with the audience and be the responsible party.
we are responsible.
I'm not. I was hoping somebody else here was, because if we're not, we're in trouble.
Well, so far,
Oh,
I'd say Fisher looks like the most
I was
responsible
about
member
to
of
say,
the
I
group.
think I was
Exactly.
about to
Yeah,
I'm
Fisher
good
will
at
stand
stealing
up.
things and talking to people. That's it.
So, Fisher, you feel someone tapping on your metal casing.
I'll get up out of the water.
Time to go chase down our Dragonborn before he gets himself possibly murdered.
That's probably a good idea.
At worst, murdered. At
Yeah, at
best,
worst.
humiliated.
See. Hey, he said at best, not even a chance. Not even.
Alright, so audience, you just walked out of everyone going straight toward the place where you were shown. It does take you, even at an accelerated pace, a good 20 minutes to reach the side of this park, and you get to a opening similar to the one that you just came from, and you do see this this hooded figure wearing black hood and clothes, and have a very similar shape to the one that those who handed you the coin and of Elithane and Ugalit. And as you approach, he does greet you. I take it you are ready to leave the garden.
Isn't the whole thing the garden?
Well, usually we just call this place the garden, as it is a term that a lot of people just feel better with. It is, for us, the Arboretum. And yes, this place is called the garden. So are you ready to
So
leave
then,
the
no,
Arboretum?
I am not. I do not wish to leave the garden.
No,
Yes, I am ready to leave the Arboretum.
very well. If you will follow me, we have rooms prepared for you. We did gather from the coins that you have that you are all traveling together. I imagine that you would like to
Yes.
be located near one another.
That would be preferable.
Very well. Follow me.
Thank you.
And he leads you outside of this this arboretum, and just goes away. Go through the corridor. You find again. You again find yourself walking in the various corridor, surrounding of gold, silver, and brass and copper. It takes a good, I'd say, 5 or 10 minutes, and you get the chance of seeing a lot more of this. You see other people walking by. You notice an elf, a human, a half-orc. One thing you do notice is that no one seems to be bearing weapons. Some of them still have their armor, but most of them are not. All of them are not wearing weapons, and most of them have removed their armor. They're walking in sort of plain clothes. You do come across a small area which looks like people are drinking a bit, but this looks like a small village tavern. But he doesn't stop there. He just keeps on going, and you go through to what feels a bit like a maze. You do go up one flight of stairs to a second floor, and after a few corridors, he just stops and looks around, says, "Oh, this will do. There are 7 or 8 rooms that are free here. I will just record this," and reach inside of this robe and takes out a small globe of made out of glass, and touches it. And as he touches it, you see a variety of runes appearing on it. Slides one, taps on another one. Here you go. This should do well. Pockets it again and says, "Don't worry, you will all get one if you stay." So, this will be your room. It is not a luxury room. We are not a luxury establishment. However, most of our population is civilian, so it is comfortable. You can move about this place all you want. There is, however, a restriction on the eastern district, where a lot of the engineering section and administrative sections are. But other than those sections, you are free to move about the entire garden. This is the residential wing, where people can live. There are a few places where you can be, and just beside them, to the west, and he points in one direction, there is a very large inn, where most of the people will gather at the end of the day. There is also the industrial district, where you can buy equipment. Right now, we do not have a lot of equipment, as we've been here only for a short while. There is also the arcane district, where most of the researchers are. So if you are ever the kind of person to wish to increase your arcane knowledge, share knowledge, or learn something new, most likely there are a variety of libraries, a few bookstores. Unfortunately, you will not find material from other worlds, only your own world. It is One of the restrictions we had to accept when we came here. I believe this is everything. The quarter where you entered is the military quarter. You can move about freely there. However, a lot of the construct, I believe you call them on your world, are made for combat. So I would advise against antagonizing them. But other than that, they will gladly share knowledge and train with you if you so desires. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Very well. So this is your room. You can enter it just by touching the door. It has been attuned to you specifically, so no one else can enter it, but you can invite whomever you want in. You are gonna have to find your own way of getting them out if they don't want to leave, however.
Okay.
The gathering officially happens in, I believe, 2 days, is according to your calendar. So, by that time, just make sure to be at the large inn.
All right. Thank you.
Until then, you're free to move about however you want. We do ask that you leave your weapon inside. There are a lot of adventurers, so some of them will try to assert their dominance. And to make sure that there are no fatal confrontation, we do ask that you leave your weapons inside your room.
That should be no problem.
And he touches the door, and you just see the metal on the door seemingly evaporates in front of you, and there is the archway. Now you see this room. It is a comfortable room, lit slightly darker than the halls, but still made out of seemingly metal. There is a bed, there is a desk, and there is what looks like an empty bookshelf at the end where you can store a lot of things. In front of the desk there is a chair, and there is also a clothes drawer just in front of the bed. So clockwise from where you are, at your left you have the desk and the chair, then the bookshelf, then the bed, then the drawer for clothes.
Alright. I will enter, drop off my weapons and armor. Actually, I'll remove my armor.
Right.
And I will kind of, get rid of some of the grime and stuff from traveling, and then I will head off to the where he said the large inn was.
All right. So you take a bit of time. You realize you didn't ask him if there was a place where you could wash off.
I'll look around and see if there is.
So you leave your room and you start looking around. It's not obvious because everything looks like same doors. But you do meet... make a perception roll. See how long it takes you to find someone.
Alright. Nope.
So bright, so shiny.
So bright, so shiny.
Your face.
It takes me quite a while. I rolled a nat 1.
Oh, wow. All right. So because everything looks exactly the same, you go from one corridor to the next, you go down a stair, up a stair, and then eventually you find yourself in front of a door and says, I I think this is mine. You touch it, and it actually does dissolve, and you find your equipment. And you realize you've been going around in circle for the past half hour. But someone actually does come in the corridor, and you see one of those black robe construct coming down the corridor. This one is not wearing glove. This is why you can easily make out that he's a construct. But he greets you. Sir Audience, I believe.
Yes.
You look like you're lost. We've been monitoring someone walking around in circle for the past half hour. And
Yes,
this looks
I
like
was
you.
wondering if you had a washroom.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, there, if you enjoy the feeling of water, yes, we do have a place for this. Otherwise, inside your room, there is a small device which can be used to that effect. So, whichever you wish to use.
Could you show me how to work the device?
Oh, yes, of course. He touches the door, and the door dissolves. He enters in, and he goes to the desk where you just see what looks like a small orb. It is an arcane device, and all you do, and he takes the orb, place your finger right on top of it, slide in front, then slide to your right, and then just wait. He hands it to you.
All right, I'll kind of look at him. I'll slide it down. I'll pause for a second, slide it to my right, look at him again.
And just as you do this, it feels a bit weird. You've seen this before, but you've never experienced it. It is basically the... oh, goodness. I believe it's the prestidigitation cantrip. So you are basically cleaned spotless by this little cantrip placed inside this orb. You just watch yourself, and all the grimes leaves, and even the blood stain, and you even feel slightly refreshed.
Well, I'll say fascinating. It's useful. I'll place it back on the desk. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then
It is a good thing you placed it back on the desk, as all of the technologies that you can find here, the technologies and arcane knowledge, only works inside the garden. If you were to take it outside, it would just be a ball. It would just be a ball of glass.
All right, thank you.
With the exception of the communication device, which will be given to you if you decide to become part of the garden.
Thank you. I'll be heading out now.
Very well. He leaves your room and goes off.
All right, and I will then head off to go to the inn.
Someone seems interested.
I think you're muted, Eldon.
Oh yeah, like I don't know this information. Like it's not being told to me, but like my brain is just like, wow, okay.
So, audience, you leave your room and you go toward this large inn. Because you got lost, we're gonna go back to everyone else because they mostly
I had a chance to catch up to me.
Yeah, most likely.
Indeed.
So Valtteri, Fisher, and Eldon, as you all move toward the closest exit, the Arboretum, you also find yourself in front of one of these black-robed humanoids. This one also is not wearing gloves, so you do see, because of his hands, that it is a construct. However, the way they talk, it feels more like Fisher than an actual construct that you would meet in city. And this would be an information that Eldon and Fisher would easily recognize, as both of them has seen the difference between them, the way they act. So most likely these constructs are sentient, or at least very close to it. You are greeted by one. So you are ready to leave our beautiful garden. How did you like the arboretum?
I love it.
There's some cool fish.
Yes, we do have an interesting variety of fish. Many of them, well, I believe most of them actually came from your world, different part of your world. So,
can I ask a question? You're saying your world. Are we like just on like a different planet?
no,
Or
this,
like a whole different universe?
no, this is the garden.
You're not helping my brain not to melt down right now. If you want me to make it to this freaking gathering, answer something.
Well, it is difficult to answer something that is different. This is the garden. It is both the place and the name.
So like when you say our world, that's the shattered continent, whereas this is the garden.
Yes, you could say this.
Okay. Would I know rudimentary knowledge of the planes?
Oh, goodness. Well, I'd say make an Arcana roll. If you don't have Arcana, just Intelligence.
They're both a +2. So not one, but I'm gonna roll again. 17.
17. All right. So, you know a bit of lore about the Shattered Continent, and especially the teachings of the Exiled, which are those who have the reputation of having given the most neutral explanation of how this world is. Everything is explained in shards to you. So, at some point in time, the fabric of reality was hit with a tremendous amount of power, and it just exploded. And floating in this space are all the shards of everything that was. When the light of creation hits a shard, it spreads the light pretty much like a prism would, with the exception that a prism spread the entire arc of light in each of its sides, except these shards only emanate one type of light from each of the shards. When several light beams cross, it creates a world. Some also call it temporary shards, as these new realm also spreads light. The realm that you come from, the Shattered Continent, is said, according to the Exiled, to be the realm with the most variety of lights coming from shards.
Okay.
Most people tend to look at these shards as the old explanation of planes.
Okay. I get you. So basically, like what I want to do is try to explain to them, like this is our shard, this is our world. So you're telling me this is a whole nother shard by itself in a totally different one, and that's made up of people from all these other different types of shards that have no connection to ours. Correct?
Part of this is correct. He starts explaining the rest and he asks you, Do you want to go to your room? I can explain this as we walk.
Sure. Yes, please, indeed. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just trying for my head not to explode from all this.
Fisher, because you've studied arcane knowledge, this is a bit of normal knowledge to you.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you. What about this is so hard to understand?
Well, make an Arcana check. See how well you understood this when you studied it.
I want to know how connected everything is right now in the place that we're at.
14.
14. All right. So yeah, all of this concept of shards isn't new to you. You've seen this. You know how the exiled described this. You know that the reason why the explanation from the exiled is the favored one is because explanation from the gods can all vary according to the agendas of different gods. But the exiled seem to have a very neutral point of view, and they never try to place themselves in a position that is advantageous to them. They are even very openly saying that they did something wrong. So this is why their explanation of the universe has become the most accepted one.
Unbiased view.
Most likely, as best as people can understand what they say. Because they do speak very cryptically, but from what they can understand, it's most likely the most factual representation of the universe. So, Valtteri, as you've most of your background on this is that of your Druidic religion. So you're very familiar with what is called the Shard of the Fae. So you can imagine that there are other shards, but your understanding of this is religious, so most likely tainted by whatever your own religion says about the world.
I only have one question to the dude, but right now he's bombarded with the questions of
Go ahead.
Eldon.
I will take a step back. Eldon will look to see the question on Valtteri's face and be like, I am so sorry. My brain can explode after you. And he's very sincere about that.
I was just wanted to know when I can have my friend back.
Your friend is always near. You can get her back anytime you want. She is completely free to roam around and visit whomever she wants.
Thank you very much.
You do have
all I want to know.
Right now you do have the feeling that she's eating something she likes very much.
Probably the cherries.
Valtteri, by the way, your friend. They were hiding for quite often around us. Any other secrets you're willing to share?
She's staying silent, kind of feeling uncomfortable, just wanting to get to her room.
So she looks like a deer that you've just shone a light spell right in her eyes.
Okay. So what's the marching order? Because I want Eldon near the back, but just talking forward.
Well, you can certainly be in the back. There's only 3 of you. So Fisher, where are you? Apparently, you have a choice between being the first one or the second one.
I was gonna say, I'd just be, I guess, the first one following.
All right, so the marching orders, there is Fisher, Valtteri, and half a position later or sooner, Eldon.
That was rude.
Well, he's talking to you, so it's half a position. He's not actually a full position behind you.
Does Valtteri carry a book bag or just everything out in the open with just like few pockets?
Do you have a backpack, or do you just carry everything in your hands?
I do have a backpack, but I also have like kind of pockets that are strapped around my tail, so they're under my cloak.
I want to try to do this sneakily to see if she's hiding anything else. Just for my own curiosity, not taking a thing. Just want to know what's on her person.
Alright, so first we're gonna, if you don't want her to realize this, you're gonna have to do... wow, there's a lot of rolls in this. So first of all, I'd say a stealth roll.
25.
Alright, so Valtteri, are you expecting this at all, honestly?
No.
Alright, so that means we have to go with your passive perception.
Yeah, even with my normal perception, I would have only gone to 24, so it doesn't matter.
So you easily just fall back slightly behind her. And now you have to search her. Make a sleight of hand check.
With advantage, because she has no idea I'm there. Because I'm a thief.
I know that you're
She
there.
knows you're
just
there.
I know that you're
But
there.
she's not expecting me to... Picky.
No, I wouldn't give you advantage because no one's speaking right now. So
Okay.
there's only the awkward silence of the footsteps.
23.
That beats her perception. Even if I give her advantage, it beats her perception.
Yeah, no,
So-
13. Sorry.
I mean, my perception is +4, so I should have, if I had a critical 20.
Oh,
then
I'm sorry. That was a 21. My math was wrong. Because of 13. 13 plus 8 is 21, right? No, yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so
Yeah.
you easily manage to... How can I put this in ways that don't feel like you're doing a creepy thing in that subway?
well, he's basically kind of lifting up my cloak without me noticing and looking at my tail.
That's
Well,
why I say, how can I describe this without...
That still sounded
creepy.
creepy.
He's pacing a mark.
It's D&D. Imagination. Things just happen that way.
He
A
is...
strong gust of wind
Alright,
picks
guys,
up her
let's
cloak.
just move past this. He's feeling her up. I said it, we can move on.
Oh, no. Damn.
Without her noticing.
Damn. Thanks. Eldon's now a pervert.
You're welcome.
That was what I was going for.
Well,
So, Valtteri, what does he discover by feeling your tail?
I don't know. My tail?
Well, you said that was where the pouch
Yes.
were. So, what
Yeah, I
does
have
he learn?
like multiple single pouches, like my gold pouch, kind of like the strap where I have my notebook in, where I have my drawings. Probably one of my daggers that is on the back side. But I think everything else I have in my backpack.
So, feeling your tails, you notice that there's something jiggling, there's something pointy, and there's a strap leading up.
In the interest of not being too meta, do I feel an orb? Because you take it out and put it back quite often, so I thought it was on your
It's
pouch.
in my back. No, I always put it in my backpack.
Okay. Damn. Don't know it yet. Okay,
All
I'll
right.
find out one day.
So, as Eldon is making friends with Valtteri,
That
we...
nobody knows.
Without her knowing.
Nobody knows.
No. Well, as far as you can tell, no one knows, but they've been able to monitor audience, so who knows?
Yeah, that is true, and that's really creepy. But okay.
I can just imagine the person is on his desk looking at this, and people from this world has very weird, very weird, have very weird traditions.
Yep.
Yeah, sure, let's call it traditions.
So
yeah, we're going to our rooms.
Yeah, you're led up to your rooms. Just like audience, I don't know if you were there to hear the explanation of audience room.
Yeah. I
just
got
want to know
it.
if I have to repeat it.
The seamless arch touched the doorway. It vanishes.
Yeah. So
According to me.
He reaches this corridor and says, I believe one of your friends has already took a room here. I believe it's this one here. So if you all want to share the same corridor, I can just give you rooms here. Otherwise, I can just look for another place.
If you have space here, that works.
Eldon?
Sure.
Eldon, do you want something else? Or?
I am so sorry. I zoned out.
He's still trying to wrap his head around this whole shards thing.
Yeah, like.
He's trapped around
Everything
looking at
is-
my tail.
It was a beautiful talon, let me tell you
Thank
what.
you very much.
If Eldon didn't already have feelings, he would have feelings now. But he doesn't.
There is a sense of intimacy now.
The unknown intimacy between Valtteri and Eldon that no one will ever know.
Dear God, no.
Be like, I feel like I know you so well. Get it? Feel you? Anyway,
Just because you saw my tail without me noticing.
it's okay. It's a tail.
Moving past this, did we get the same districts explanation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So he gets in front of the room, opens it with a small orb, assign a room to each of you, tells you that the door will open only to you. They are all you have to do is touch them. They are attuned specifically to you. You have the same interior. All the rooms seems to be identical. And he asks you if you have any question. He gives you a brief rundown of all the different districts. Industrial one, right above the the lower level is where the raw material arrives. Mid-level is where most of the shops are, and the higher level is where a lot of the research happens. The one that can be given to others, or sometimes the most refined of elements. And there is the research district. Again, multiple tire. He does warn you about the administrative and engineering sections. These are restricted. You might actually get granted access to those if you decide to stay with the garden once the gathering is over. But access will most likely remain very restrained.
Stay with the garden. So you're trying to like maybe bolster up your numbers, or you're offering us a chance to stay here and leave our lives behind.
Oh no,
Okay.
you do not need to leave your life behind. This is the garden. We are a simple expedition. We are here to learn more about your world, if you wish to stay with us, you will be able to consider this a safe haven or headquarter.
Are we are we allowed to, if we join you, to go back to our world and
But
come
of
back
course,
here?
you will all be given a communication device, which you can use both to come back here and to communicate with us.
What else can it do? Does it watch us? Does it give you a live feed of what we're doing?
It does grant us information, as one of the function is to be able also to pull you out of trouble in an emergency. Your world does seem to have strange elements to it, so this might not be the most reliable means of evacuating something. I would suggest only using this as a last resort. But if you're desperate enough, it will be possible to use it as such. All of the explanation for these communication device will be given to you should you decide to stay with us. And do not worry. When we go back, you do not need to come back with us, even if you decided to be part of this expedition.
What kind of information gathering network do you guys have access to right now? Because I would be very curious on knowing that, and maybe having 5 to 10 minutes with that informational network.
Right now, what we have is very limited.
Apparently not.
Very limited according to our own standard. We are looking to have a better understanding of your world, and should you decide to stay with us, we will be very pleased if you help us gather all of these information. As for now, we have very limited information about your world itself, its history, what happened. Our supplies are very limited, as we have had to accept the restriction of only developing components with what can be found on your world. So we have to find a way to establish business relationships if you want to be able to buy a good variety of objects here.
Interesting. Okay, so you're trying to put your foot in the door in our world, where you can open up trade and other aspects to that. So where
only during our presence. We will not be here forever.
Yeah, you just want to know everything you can about the world. You guys are seekers of knowledge.
Well, the garden is a research expedition.
Is it to save and record all of the life from different worlds?
While we do this a fair bit, it is not the only purpose. And it most definitely was not the initial purpose when we asked permission to come here. But as I said, it is a research expedition. We are here to gather knowledge, to learn more about your world and its condition as it is right now.
Hold on.
This knowledge wouldn't be used to determine, or what word this? Used in order to assist with some sort of conquest, would it?
No, not
Is
conquest.
purely knowledge for the sake of knowledge.
We're
I
not. Yes.
literally just wrote down judging us for what?
Can I
No.
just get into my room? I'm
Oh yes,
sorry.
the doors are open.
I'll just go into my room while they're talking and close the door, I guess.
He did give you the explanation of keeping your weapons here for
Yes,
the same reason as audience. All right. No, we're not here in any military capacity. However, we did experience something a bit different when we came here, and this is most likely one of the reasons why all of you are here. That reason will be made a little clearer later.
Okay.
During this week.
Just one last question. Exactly how much time do we have until whatever meeting this is takes place?
I believe according to your calendar, it is 2 days. Just make sure to be in the main tavern of the garden at the evening of this second day. There, Elithane will greet you and take you to this place you have most likely been seeing in your dreams.
Thank you very much.
Neat.
And I will drop my weapons off in my room before asking directions to the arcane section, the one with libraries.
All right. Of course, he gives you direction to get there. Eldon, do you ask for anything else?
I want to, cause curiosity of having to know. If I wanted to try to find somebody specific in our world that you may or may not have information on, where could I go look that up?
Our information about specific individual in your world is very limited. The coins are part of this thing I mentioned, which is not something usual for us. But
I'm talking about outside of the coin's perspective.
Well,
because I already asked and she's not on the list.
Well, finding someone in your world would be very difficult. Like I said, your world has very specific element orbiting around it, being as part of it, which makes it very difficult for us to openly interact with it. Finding someone or some place very specifically is going to be quite a challenge.
Interesting. Well, I have other feelers out anywhere. I was just thinking about a means to an end a lot faster. But apparently not all knowing and all omnipotent, apparently. But
of course not. We are
we're
here
all
to
learning.
gather knowledge, not to diffuse knowledge.
Because it's a construct, I don't know if it understands sarcasm, but that was very sarcastic.
All right.
Fisher understands sarcasm.
Yes.
And uses it all the time.
All right.
Well, have a
Whether
great
or not
night.
you notice.
And going into my room and seeing that Orby thing after taking off my weapons, all of them.
Yes. It's on the desk.
Yeah, I want to mess with it. I just want to see what it can do. Like curious kid with a toy, just doing whatever he can to mess with it.
All right. Well, I'd say make an Arcana roll.
In the meantime,
Yes.
I'll drop off my weapons and head out of my room again.
All right. Where do you want to go?
Back to the garden. The garden.
The Arboretum.
Yes, I will never remember that name.
That's what notes are for.
I'll take notes, but that doesn't mean that I know how to spell it.
You should see my notes. They are a mess. Like I have short little words and just like jumbled up and just like I'll remember what this means when it's important.
All right.
We lost Sam.
Audience.
Oh, for good or not?
Audience? Oh,
Wait.
it is a
He
little
only
late.
left. He left the call.
He left the call. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We might have lost internet or something.
Yeah. Also, you might not.
Well, it's getting around that time either way.
Yeah.
Should we then stop? Yeah, because it's actually over time for the stream.
Yeah, we're over time by a half an hour. I was reaching the end of what I wanted to
Go
go
ahead.
over. So all I want to do, Eldon, what did you roll?
12.
12. I'd say you managed to figure out that this orb seems to mostly do everything a prestidigitation spell can. So you can use it to... Yes?
His computer crashed.
Oh, alright.
Okay. So it's very close to the magic that we're used to in our world.
Yeah.
Or is it a
one.
little bit different? Okay.
You do manage to figure out one feature that the prestidigitation spell doesn't have. It can act as a nightlight.
I don't like that. Turn it off.
But other than that, it does. It seems to mostly do what everything that the prestidigitation spell can. So it cleans you up. It can even dirty you. As you're messing with it, you suddenly go, "Oh wow, I'm clean. What does that do? Oh wow, I stink." Okay, so that's, the orb can also do that. Becomes warmer, colder. You do get the feeling that if you leave it in the room long enough, it might actually influence the temperature inside the room.
I'll make it nice and hot and muggy, like I'm used to.
All right.
Like being out on the sea and everything, hot and muggy.
All right.
Always traveling.
All right. So Valtteri, you leave. You go back to the Arboretum. Fisher, you go toward the library. Eldon, do you just stay in your room because right now you're probably something around noon.
Well, they can't help with what he really wants to find out, what he's truly moving towards, but
Okay.
So he's really not much for social interaction. He'll do it when he needs to, but like right now he doesn't have to. So it's just like, okay, goodbye.
So you're
so
chilling in your room.
Yeah, because I know you keep saying these feelings, but Eldon does not trust this. There's something off. There's something weird. There's a connection that he can't find, and it's just nagging him at the back of his mind right now.
That's okay.
So he's gonna sit here and go over his notes. Like it feels like he's missed something about this on a grander scale of things.
That's okay. So, well, I was gonna say, Fisher, you meet audience as you are leaving, but I don't know if audience is gonna be able to come back tonight.
Probably not enough time.
All right, well, it's not a bad place to end the stream. Then everyone is comfortable at home, or at least in their new home. You have met a few of the denizens of the garden. You have had a few strange and not completely helpful explanation.
Yeah. like Eldon's face for most of this is just the "tell me the truth" face
Well, I'd say,
from Aladdin.
yeah, yeah, I remember. I'd say you can make an insight check.
Nat 20.
Natural 20.
Hold on. Let me get you the actual total. So 22 in total.
All right. So as far as you can tell, and with a natural 20, you'd even be able to figure out that if there has been any wordplay, they've been completely honest and they haven't been playing with words. You get the impression that the ambiguity of their answer is entirely because it's difficult to explain it in a different way. Sort of as if someone would say, sort of if you said a word to someone and that person says, what does that word mean? But all you have to give to that person as an explanation is sort of like the verb of the word. What does running mean? Well, it's to run. It's to walk faster. It's that kind of ambiguity.
Okay. So they're not hiding anything. They're just trying to keep the information like not available.
Well, it's even more than that. It's to them, it's obvious to the point that it's hard to explain to someone that it's not obvious for.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay, so I just need to ponder on some things. Like it's all nice and everything, but there's always a catch with something.
Well,
some fine print we need to read. Something.
To give you an example, when they said that this is the garden, as much the name as the place, feels like if you want to have your answer to this, you need to find a place where it's written garden. Yeah. To see, oh, that's what they mean.
It's like an acronym or something?
Maybe, maybe not. You know, sort of like there's different way. It could be the garden, as in a major G. It could be an acronym. It could be the garden and there's something after. There's sort of that thing that's missing that for them is obvious. But for you, unless you can actually see it written, it's sort of, yeah, it's the garden.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Well, here, let me close down the streams and everything. Oh.
All right. So, well, it's going to be it for tonight. I do believe that audience will not be coming back, and so it is a good place to end this. So, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you enjoyed the show, you can always support the stream by following us on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. You can also support the stream by making a donation or becoming a Patreon. And of course, one thing that is always very useful, if you yourself can't support us in any of those ways, you can always spread the word about us. Maybe someone you know can help us grow this channel.
Yay!
So, stay safe, stay healthy, especially in these circumstances.
Stay at home.
Especially next Wednesday, But yes, all the time, it's better like this. It's the first planetary crisis that we have, so let's make sure that we all come out of this in one piece. So, see you all next Wednesday. Have a nice week. Bye.
Bye bye.